Uh, Hello, Anne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine. We're both in different places this time
Yes.
around. Yeah. And but for those people who are joining us and don't know that we're in different places, perhaps we should explain that you are Anne Hawkins, Director of Communications for the Film Noir Foundation,
I am.
which would make me
It would make you the president of the Film Noir Foundation, Eddie Muller.
exactly, precisely. But obviously, some people are just kind of falling into this and maybe don't know. So now we've explained it.
Yes. And if you
Um,
are watching on YouTube, if you can like, subscribe, and share, that would be really cool because I know more of you are watching than are subscribed. And subscribe doesn't, it doesn't cost you anything and you'll get notifications when we put stuff up.
Absolutely. And we're both in different places this week for various reasons. I mean, I'm in the same place, but in a different room. I'm in my house, but I'm in my living room instead of up in my office. So I hope the light behind me and all that kind of stuff isn't distracting to anyone. And the clock that isn't actually running, that's not actually the time.
Okay,
I
that's
need,
good to
I,
know.
yeah, I need to have that clock fixed at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm at my day job
Okay. At the day
in,
job.
in the conference room on my lunch break, recording this for everybody. And it's
You're not going
Friday.
to get you're not going to get in trouble, are you, for doing this at your place of employment that
And
isn't the Film Noir Foundation?
no, I don't think so. Like I said, it's my lunch hour and I'm in a conference room. And also on Fridays, the only people in the office sit on the other side of the
Okay, very
building.
good.
So I won't be disturbing anyone. So
Okay, so I
yeah.
and I maybe we'll be faster this time because you're on the clock there at work, but we'll find out. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into oops. That is a spec that just pulled up in my Word document and not the questions. Let's get
Oh,
to
okay.
the questions. Why don't you read the first question?
Oh, okay. This is from Richard in Gualala. Gualala. I love always saying Gualala, California. Eddie, you have presented films and done interviews in many theaters across the country and abroad. Yes, I have. Uh, I love our people send in questions, and they're so they do it in such a full-bodied way.
Yeah,
It's great. These
I love it.
include in the Bay Area, the Balboa, the Castro, and now the Grand Lake, amongst many others,
Many
I have to
others.
say.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area, I would be interested in your thoughts and Anne's on the various features of movie theaters that stand out and make a difference: style, size, seating configuration, audio and projection systems, and other variables. Do you have favorites? And then Richard notes that years ago, as a youth living in Oakland in the 40s and 50s. Okay, so Richard is kind of dating himself there. I loved watching movies in the beautiful Paramount Theater there. Yes, the
Oh, it's
Paramount
gorgeous.
is absolutely spectacular. Uh, I could never do, I could only do a one off show there. I could never do a festival there because it's just too expensive to rent that place for a series of days. You might be able to get away with a one night event. Anyway, this is a very tough question to answer because um, I don't go into a venue hoping that it conforms to some predetermined thing. I mean, obviously, we prefer older, classic, vintage movie theaters. That's why we don't like doing stuff in auditoriums
Hmm.
and or at museums or things like that. The Noir City Festival, I mean, we'll do that, um, for a one-off special show or something. But for a Noir City Festival, it has to be in a classic movie theater because the whole point is we're trying to recreate the experience of going to the movies when these films were originally made. But then they can have all kinds of variables within that, and mostly it's just the vibe. I'm not trying to be evasive at all here, just saying that they're not all the same. I greatly enjoyed the Egyptian theater in Seattle, which unfortunately we're not in any longer, because it was like a converted vaudeville house, and it had a real sense of history. And you felt a few ghosts lurking around the place, which I really liked. That's also true of the Grand Lake to some extent. It's kind of fun because one thing that the public doesn't recognize, that's a factor for me personally, is the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see. So like the backstage and all that kind of stuff, the ease with which you can move a show in and out is really important. And the staff of these places is really important. But otherwise, it's just like they're all pretty great. I mean, we just wrapped up the Noir City Hollywood at the Egyptian down there, and Netflix did a fantastic remodeling job on that venue, and now it has become an absolute favorite just because of how easy it is to work there and how great the staff is. They built a beautiful backstage green room and everything, and the acoustics are spectacular because this festival had a lot of live music incorporated into the shows, and all the musicians pointed out how great the acoustics were in that theater. And I have to agree. Every seat in the house is also really good for sound, which was not always the case. Like quite honestly, at the Castro Theater in San Francisco, the sound in the balcony is not optimum for movie going. The sound gets a little crushed as you get closer to the ceiling. But anyway, I mean, that's it. Do you have any particular faves or things about theaters that appeal to you?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Balboa. I mean, that's just fun to go to, and it was really funny because my friend Nathan and I were going to go see Invasion of the Body Snatchers at the Roxy. The new one, the newer one, the one from I think it was like 1980 and stuff. And so he was driving, all of a sudden I look up and I realized we're nowhere near the Mission. And I'm like, we're going to the Roxy, and goes, I thought we were going to the Balboa. Because we always go to the Balboa for stuff. So anyway, so there, and also the just for modern theaters, also the Van Ness Apple Cinema is really nice. That's like the third cinema that's been in that space. It's on, on
Is that
Van
where it used to
Ness.
be the Galaxy?
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be a Cadillac dealership originally, and then
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
further theaters. Yeah. And the staff there is incredibly nice. It's like the nicest staff people.
So
Except,
that's an
yeah.
Apple theater now.
Yeah, it's an Apple Theater now.
See, this is fascinating to me because you know that, and this is just an observation. It's not like I'm editorializing necessarily, although maybe I am.
Oh.
It's so weird to me that all of uh, movie exhibition today is repeating the antitrust issues
I
from
know. It's crazy.
because it was the whole thing with the Paramount Decree in 1947 or 48, whenever it was to keep, to eliminate vertical integration of these businesses so that one entity didn't own the production, distribution, and exhibition, because that's a monopoly, right? But now that's exactly what's happening because it's Netflix and Apple and Amazon. Eventually, I'm sure Amazon will start buying theaters, and it's just recreating the exact thing that caused the United States government to call the movie business a racket once upon a time, because it was consolidated in too few hands. The whole process was consolidated in too few hands, and that's being replayed now. So I, quite honestly, Ann, I didn't even know until you told me this, that Apple had opened a movie complex in San Francisco, obviously because they're competing with Netflix, which is doing this.
Yeah.
So just interesting. I mean, what can I say? I mean, eventually it'll probably all cycle back to where the government will say this isn't a viable thing. But in the meantime, they're going to try to consolidate this all into the fewest number of hands, just like
Yeah. But two of the
Paramount
films,
buying Warner Brothers and all that stuff. So
yeah, and two of the films I've seen at the Apple Theater were both Netflix movies.
well, I mean,
It was Del Toro's Frankenstein and the Third Knives Out movie. I saw both of those at the Apple Theater, so it's kind of
yeah,
funny because they're
but I mean
directed
that's
on
what's
Netflix
interesting. It's
films.
like it doesn't preclude them from showing other things, although
Yeah.
obviously I'd love to see the financials on what Apple charges for a Netflix movie to be in their theater or vice versa, because there's no love lost between any of these entities, even though they're all going to end up with all the money.
Yeah.
It's like they're still going to compete with each other while everybody else falls by the wayside. So I better stop talking now, or somebody will hear this and say, you know what, you shouldn't be saying this stuff because
Yes.
but
Because
but it but it
one of
is
your
just
employers might not be so
yeah,
happy about
but
it.
it's just factual. I'm not even editorializing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
No, but that's what I
that
said about Netflix. Even before it went into a theater, I still felt it was doing vertical
yeah, vertical
be-
integration. Yeah,
vertical integration because it was producing and releasing. And it's just like that's
exactly.
exactly what this was. It doesn't, and anyway, so
Yeah, I actually think the Egyptian in Hollywood was the first venue that Netflix
okay, so
purchased and I was thinking to myself like, wow, they're a movie studio now, and they're buying up movie
theaters.
theaters and operating them, which is exactly the situation that existed, back in the day that the government felt they had to intercede in. So
Mm,
anyway, we'll see how all that shakes out. Anyway,
mm.
but it is great when they, retain um, the classic movie theater experience. I haven't been in the Castro since it's been remodeled, but I have a funny feeling that the issue with the seats is going to complicate movie going there somewhat because the seats are not permanent.
Correct.
They're removable, and I've had reports from people saying that spending a day in watching movies in those seats would not be the greatest experience. But
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes because Song Film Festival people do spend the day
spend the
there.
whole
So
day,
they
and it's
spend the
like
whole day there. And I
Saturday.
mean like
Yeah,
from like 10 in the morning till midnight.
absolutely. So
So it'll
so
be
we'll see.
interesting.
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Um, oh, and I was going to say, I wanted to say though, the most beautiful movie theater that I have ever been in is the Fifth Avenue Theater in Seattle. It is
Okay.
gorgeous. It's run now as a legitimate theater, as plays and stuff. But I have seen a movie there. I saw Oklahoma there with Shirley Jones. But that is the most. It's based on the Forbidden City in China, and it's insanely beautiful and has like this wooden carved floating ceiling, and then this dragon that drops down from the middle of it,
Oh,
and it's all carved wood. It is gorgeous, and the furniture that's inside it and the lobbies and stuff were made for it. And there's old photos of it. And in when it was run, it's a movie palace originally. The ushers all wore like Mandarin pajamas and little
beautiful,
and shoes and
beautiful.
stuff. I mean, but that is like,
Oh,
if you guys go to Seattle, even if you don't want to see a show there, which you should because their musical company is very good there, you can take a tour. But it is an absolutely beautiful, and like I
right
said, I
on.
think it's just spectacular. And
Never been in there, so I'd love to check that out. And
and
and for me, I'm going to go with Richard here and say that the Paramount in Oakland is probably the most spectacular theater that I've seen because the lounges and the mezzanine and everything around the auditorium is great.
yeah,
The experience there is great. I mean, I saw Abel Gance's Napoleon there
ah,
twice,
that's so great.
and that was the greatest movie going experience of my life, partly because of the venue, in addition to the live orchestra and Carl Davis conducting and all that. And the triptych, the screen opening up it was fabulous. Anyway, we should, we need to be apace here because I'm getting messages that my internet connection is unstable and I only have 26% juice left on my laptop.
Okay,
because I'm in a different spot and I don't have it plugged in. So,
and I am at work.
Yeah.
This is from Harvey, from Tarzana, California. I love that he's from there. I was at nearly every film at North City Hollywood this year and had a great time. I camped out and wrote in for noir. When introducing Young Man with a Horn, Alan Rode said, like I don't know how to pronounce that, said that the upbeat saccharine ending of the film was tacked on per order of Jack Warner and did not accord with the ending that was desired by Curtiz, Kirk Douglas, etc. The upbeat ending was very Hollywood and didn't seem to flow very well. What was it from the action that preceded it? What was the original intended finish for the film? Did they shoot it that way or the way they had wanted to? If so, are there clips or stills from it, or maybe it was just never shot, or maybe the footage was destroyed?
No. Harvey, you're reading way too much into this. It was the original ending of the movie was the ending of Dorothy Baker's book, where Rick just dies. I mean, he's an alcoholic and he's a substance abuser and all this stuff, and he just dies with smoke. The Hoagie Carmichael character by his side as he expires. That was it. And the original ending of the film is in the film, which is where he finally hears the one perfect note, but it turns out to be the ambulance that's coming to get him and take him to the sanitarium. That's the ending of the film. But Jack Warner, didn't want it. They put a lot of money into it. Kirk Douglas was a huge hot star. They put Doris Day in this movie, and they just made a big investment in her. And Jack Warner was going to be damned if he was going to have such a downbeat ending on the film. So they just inserted the thing where he comes out of rehab and he's back in playing the trumpet again as she's recording a number, and that's it. That's the ending. So kind of typical of what the studios would do back then. There was no way they were going to have Kirk Douglas die as Bix Beiderbecke, the character. I mean, the real guy that character is based on. That's his sad story, dying very, very young, just like the guy in the film. All right, so this is a question from Paul. He says, "Are there any notable noir films remaining that you know of that are basically impossible to see in good quality because the film elements are lost?" He says, "I know there are certainly ones that can't be screened in 35 because no prints are available, but I'm thinking more along the lines of films where even a video restoration can't be done because there isn't any good archival material available." I'm going to throw out there the one that I would love to find that has been very elusive is The Pretender, a Republic picture from, I think it's 1947, starring Albert Decker. It's just a B movie, but it's kind of the first film noir that John Alton shot in Hollywood. I've seen it in bad. I think every copy I have seen has been recorded off of a television broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
So never have located original materials for that film. And being a Republic film, it would probably belong technically to Paramount. And I honestly, I don't know if Paramount out there somewhere in their archives has perhaps retained those elements, but they have never surfaced. So yeah, I would love to see The Pretender. It's directed by W. Lee Wilder, Billy Wilder's brother. I think it's the first movie that he made. And it's actually pretty good. I mean, for his, it's John Alton. It's ridiculously cheap, but it looks great because of him. So that's the one I'm going with.
Yeah, Albert. I just really like Albert. Decker.
Yeah, Albert Decker is great, and it's a
Yeah.
pretty it's a little bit of an outlandish uh, script, but it works. You know, a guy who wants to inherit this woman's estate, and so he schemes to marry her, but then she's going to marry this other guy, and he hires a hitman to kill the other guy, so then he can move in on her. It's very complicated, but it's silly because it all hinges on the only picture of the guy, the intended target being a photo in the society page. But then I'm spoiling the whole plot. But then the woman's fiance actually dies, and then she agrees to marry this guy, and then it's their picture that appears in the newspaper together, and the hitman mistakenly thinks it's him.
Oh, is this one where
Yo.
he's eating food in his closet?
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah.
I have seen it.
Yeah, where
Albert
he's all
Decker's so
scared and
great in
paranoid,
it.
and he's
Yeah.
eating like tuna fish out of the can on the floor of his empty room
Closet.
and stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Anyway, I'd love to find that and restore it. Okay.
Yeah. I just and this also just seems like if you have something oddball, Albert Decker sort of your go-to guy. Let's do the speed round.
Okay, let's do it. Lightning round. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding ding ding. Okay, this is from Wendy. The hero and his this is she wants this is a movie she wants you to identify. The hero and his girl get out of a room filling with gas. The bad guy has locked them in by using a jeweler's little magnifier to shine a magnified message on an outside wall. Which nor was this?
I have no idea.
I have no
Do you
idea.
know this?
No, it sounds more like a serial or a Charlie Chan movie, a programmer
Yeah,
than a
that's
noir. This feels very, very like a programmer.
yeah, I that doesn't ring a bell with me. It must be one I
Okay.
haven't seen. Well, we'll see if our fabulous audience can identify that movie.
Put it in the comments if you know. And
Yeah.
this is from Doug, our friend in Silver Spring, Maryland. I was just watching the Asketti from February 5th and saw the section where the two of you were trying to remember the title of the fantasy noir where a murdered German shepherd is reincarnated as a private eye, Dick Powell,
Yeah.
to solve his own murder. Yes, the movie in question is called You Could Never Tell, and it's available on Blu-ray from Kino Lorber. And yeah, and he first saw this film on the Late Show about half a century ago. It was a lot of fun. I have like an old copy I taped off AMC when there was an AMC, so I might have to upgrade to a Blu-ray. So that was just more of an informative thing to
Okay, very
bring.
much appreciated. Thank you, Doug.
Okay, and this is from Anthony. I'm a new donor and subscriber to the Film Noir Foundation. I was so happy to
Thank you.
find you. I'm a regular TCM viewer and a big fan of Eddie Muller. And this is his latest film noir portrait. So he does these pictures. I'm going to bring it up here.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Okay, let's attempt to do this, but it's pretty cool looking. I just kind of wanted to show it to people. Let me put this down here. And I'm just gonna, yeah. So, oh, no, it's not letting me do what I want. Okay. I'm gonna give this a try, guys. So let's do this. I only have one monitor where I am in the conference room, so I don't know if this is gonna work out or not, but we'll give it a shot. There we go.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea how to do this. So thank you, Ann.
Okay, there we go.
And
So
Hawkins just started
yay!
screen sharing.
There we go. We're
Oh, there you
sharing
go.
that.
Oh, that's pretty
So
cool. Look at that.
yeah, it's pretty cool. He does these, and let's just really quickly go to yeah. So anyway, I just thought this was
Maltese
cool.
Falcon. Yeah.
It's Maltese Falcon, so there he is getting Vilmer,
Yeah. Make a nice
and
mural. Geez, look at that.
yeah, I know. I wouldn't mind having that painted on my wall at home. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, so let's go back to our speed round and not my work. I keep wanting to bring up my work email. It's not good.
No, we don't need that.
We're doing that. So anyway, so thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate that, and thank you for including Gladys George on the picture because I love her in that movie.
Yeah, she's
Um,
fantastic.
she's great. And this is our friend Michael from Post Falls, Idaho. Have either of you seen the noir-tinged horror thriller What You Wish For, now on Hulu. A down on his luck chef with the gambling problems flees to Latin American villa where he assumes the identity of another man. And this was a draw for me and my wife. I think is a film you would both like. Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Oh, sounds really good. I may have to check that out if I can.
What's it called again?
It's called, so everybody knows, What You Wish For.
What You Wish For.
And
Okay.
just to let people know in case they missed last week's episode. So every week I am putting together a list on Letterboxd of all the films that that we mentioned during the broadcast. So if you
Great.
miss a title or whatever, it's on there.
It's
And
so interesting. I've noticed that a recent trend uh, in crime shows is crossing them with restaurant
yeah.
backgrounds. You know, it's like a big thing. We just started watching this show from Iceland called Reykjavik Fusion.
Yeah.
It just appeared on MHZ, and so far it is so noir. It's just incredible. It's about an ex-con who teaches himself to cook in prison, who gets out and tries to restart his life by becoming a chef in a restaurant. And of course, nobody in polite society will go near him. So he ends up making a deal with this other convict, ex-con crook, who will put up the money. But of course, our chef is on parole, so he can't be involved with any of
Yeah.
these various activities. And there it gets pretty nefarious, and it gets really, really dark. But it's very engaging. And
Yeah, and that's on
I
MHC,
so
right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what
exactly.
I thought because yeah.
But it's so new that I can't binge it
Hmm.
because only the first two episodes have appeared, and I've watched those, and then it's like now I'm stuck because they haven't dropped the rest of it yet, and I'm kind of hooked.
Yeah, and MHC just oh, never mind. I wanted to say something because at the letterbox things that popped in mind. So last week I was talking about the Italian film that got compared to Cruising that I thought was really an excellent
Yes,
movie,
yes.
and I called it The Last Scoop. The correct title is The Final Scoop.
Final
which
scoop.
which
Okay.
is what is listed in on the letterbox. The other good thing about the letterbox list is it gives us a chance to correct titles when we're wrong, then the correct
Yeah, yeah,
title
yeah. That's
will
great.
be
That's
on
great.
there. So anyway, and I'll drop a link in the YouTube description of the list, and then I'll also be sending that out on social media. You can also, if you just want to go to my letterbox account, you can just look up Anne Hawkins, Hockens on there. And like my list of French film noirs is also on that account. And then just reviews of different movies
Yeah.
that I've
Of course,
that
and
I've
as you
watched.
know, I'm on there now as well, just as Eddie Muller, and I have the 25 noir films that I'm going to be showing on TCM Summer of Darkness are on there, and then I
Oh,
think a thing about most what was it, most unnerving films or something that I've seen. I made a little list of that.
yeah. Yeah, that was
I,
really
I
cool.
haven't really gotten into the flow of Letterbox yet. I'm being encouraged to do that, but I've been so inundated with work that posting to Letterbox has not been a priority. But I'll probably be doing more of it soon. Okay,
Yeah, and
are we still in the lightning round? Because
yes, I think we're
we're
down to the last
meandering for the
question. We're
lightning
going,
round.
yeah, and okay. So let's see. What's with the crazy slide whistle thing on the soundtrack of D.O.A. whenever
Uh-oh.
Frank Bigelow eyeballs a hot doll when he arrives in San Francisco? And what are the chances that we'll ever get a nicely restored presentation of this
I
gem?
think we did that one. I
We get,
didn't.
oh,
You
did
kind of,
we?
seized up there for a second. I think
Yeah.
we already did the DOA one with the.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the sound effect when
Yeah.
he's in? Yeah, we did that one last time, I think.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, guys. Basically, it was for
I have the
humor.
same answer this time.
It was for humor. And is there a DOA? I don't think there's a
I
restoration of
would.
Cary Grant.
I don't know for a fact, but I
Yeah.
do know that the film is now in the possession of other people that will very likely do something with it and put it out in a
Fantastic.
new edition.
Okay, and this is back to our regular programming. So this is Joe from Suffolk County, New York. Jumping down the rabbit hole online and on YouTube, I came across bloggers and vloggers who hold the opinion that the closer a film strays to the novels or from the novels on which they are based, the better the film. I beg to differ. I see no correlation between the faithfulness of the adaptation and the quality of the film. One vlogger went so far to state that Ripley's Game is closer to the novel than The American Friend and therefore is a better film. I enjoyed both and agree that Ripley's Game is closer, but I don't think that alone makes it a better film. Please prove me right by giving some examples of great films that were not particularly close to their source novels. It would do me good to know you're on my side. By the way, thanks for the tip about Starkhouse Press. I'm enjoying Night Cry, which was the base of where the sidewalk ends.
Okay. This is, it's funny. And when I was just starting to get into films in the 1970s and stuff, it was a very, very common thing for people to automatically assume that the movie can't be better than the book. And because I don't think people culturally understood that movies are so inherently different than books, and the way they're absorbed by people is so different that they're two separate things. Even though they share a storyline and characters, they are inherently two different experiences of the story. So it's hard to say one is better than the other. But I'll tell you right off the top of my head, like Lady from Shanghai, based on the book If I Should Die Before I Wake. It's like totally different, and it's a cinema experience. I can't imagine anybody saying that the book is better than the movie. How about In a Lonely Place? Right? Great book. I like the movie better, for a couple of reasons. And because if the book got remade properly, it would just be another garden variety serial killer story.
Yeah.
But what Nick Ray did with it was something different that I found than the book it's based on. How about Crisscross? The Don Tracy novel Crisscross, which was like written in 1933 or something, is not very good. The movie's a film noir masterpiece. It same goes with Out of the Past. I mean, the book just isn't nearly as good as the movie. So I mean, there's 4 right there off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I think Mildred Pierce too. I mean,
yeah, good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I thought something where I really liked the adaptation, but I think when they went back and adapted the whole story as is, you really saw why it wouldn't have worked as a movie.
Well, that's what's funny. I think the book is fine, and I think
it's a good book, but
I think the movie is great. But I think that Todd Haynes, when he adapted the book, it exposed like why they made all those changes in the first place, right? It's a more faithful beautiful example, and really great. It's a beautiful example of adapting a work faithfully, but then you ask yourself, is it better than the book? I don't think Todd Haynes's adaptation is necessarily better than the book, because I don't really think that the reader / viewer wanted that much more of Veda.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you get in the thing. Like, she just becomes the antagonist, but you don't really want to follow her as closely as the remake did. I mean, she just isn't that interesting a character. She's interesting only in relation to Mildred. And so, yeah, a perfect example of that. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. This one is from Liz. She says, do both of you have a favorite costume This is a pretty interesting question. A suit or a dress or something that you think sums up a character completely in a film. And then Liz, and I love it when our viewers do this because they're so knowledgeable, they just kind of have to throw in no fair saying that black strapless number in Gilda, right? But that's Rita Hayworth, and that's a whole different
Yeah.
category of stuff. So anyway, do you have any ideas on this one, Ann?
Yes, very much so. Double indemnity. Um, Phyllis's clothes really reflect her character. It was so interesting. If you go on YouTube and just go maybe like double indemnity costume, a British woman who's a professor of like costuming did this whole analysis of how she's dressed and how it reflects her place in society and who she is as a character. It was just like, oh my God. It's like this is why you have the PhD and are teaching. And it was really fascinating. And so yeah, that's the
Yep.
first one that jumped to my mind now because,
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
good one. Edith
oh,
Head designing
yeah.
those. But it's also great because like Phyllis has conned her way into affluence, but you can't get the trashiness out of her.
Hmm.
I mean that she still dresses kind of trashily, even though she's up in the hills and she's got money and everything. She's still, which of course is what the wig was
About,
help
yeah.
convey. Uh, anyway, okay, I'm going to say this may seem perfectly ridiculously obvious, but Alain Delon in La Samurai,
Oh,
his wardrobe, which is it makes him such an anachronism compared to everybody else in the movie that you immediately, and they know it because they make such a big deal out of showing him dressing in his suit of armor and everything, and the thing with the hat
yeah.
and the whole bit, and how perfectly done the trench coat is, and there's like no twist in the belt or anything. It just shows how fastidious and you know in control that character is. So that's a good one. Um, how about, well, obviously here's an obvious one. Uh, the Orson Welles in Touch of Evil.
Hmm.
I mean that totally slovenly wardrobe and just the whole mess that he is, and they make his first appearance when he gets out of the car after the explosion is like they play up the whole wardrobe and everything, like who is this monster, so that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and I would say it's not noir, it is TV, but of course, I think Peter Fox Columbo is probably the most iconic
Yeah,
costume.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, that's a good job working Columbo into this. That's excellent, but
Hey,
very
mark it off
accurate.
your bingo
And
cards.
this is because there are some other ones that are just popping in. Like I love Joan Bennett in Scarlet Street.
Oh God, yeah.
Her wardrobe from the time she shows up in that plastic raincoat, the see-through raincoat and everything, all the
Or
way through
Dan
all her.
Dury's costume in that too, the
Well,
boater and the
exactly.
oversized
With the
suit.
Yeah, like the dandy, the dangerous dandy, but just Joan Bennett's lingerie and all
Mhm.
her loungewear and everything in that movie is just incredible. I also love how in Crisscross, Yvonne De Carlo is like the femme fatale, and she's very feminine and everything. But then at a certain point in the story, when she's trying to assert her independence from these two guys, they put her in trousers.
Mhm.
You didn't see a lot of that in movies back then. And dare I say, Yvonne De Carlo looks great in those trousers.
And I love
Uh,
the shirt she's wearing too. I love that
yeah,
outfit.
yeah, and they
She
do it
looks
a few
great.
times. Like
Yeah. Because
it's
when they're
not
planning the
by the
heist,
end of the
she's
film.
also when they're planning the
Yeah,
heist,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
also like in a tied off shirt and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. So her wardrobe is really good. Also, a good revelation of character is Widmark's wardrobe in Night in the City, where he's like super flashy. It's kind of spiv. It was known as spiv style because it was and he's an American adopting that British spiv style where you had, if you were an operator and a guy on the street, a hustler, you had to dress super flashy. And I love Widmark's outfits in Night in the City. And what other one? I mean, Harry Belafonte and Odds Against Tomorrow. He has a great, very distinctive, with the cap and the Ray-Ban sunglasses and all that. It defines him as like this super cool dude in comparison to Robert Ryan and Ed Begley. Of course, how about Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard? Her wardrobe
Yeah.
is just spectacularly definitive. I mean, there's a lot of these where you can't imagine the character wearing anything else, you know. I love Richard Conte in Thieves Highway. I love his jacket with the fur collar and everything because it makes him seem like he's in the Air Force or something, and he's still fighting the war on the home front.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool outfit. And I don't know, maybe that's enough. Maybe I'll stop
I think
there.
I think we can stop there. We covered a lot.
But I
Um,
love that they're the iconic thing in noir, right? Like that Conti's jacket in Thieves Highway to me is kind of iconic, even though the movie isn't that well known.
yeah. And also Valentino Cortez's turtleneck,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
which is great, and she looks spectacular in
Yep.
as well. But
I mean, I
just
have
she
a.
looks so cool. I mean, just her all outfit and the earrings and stuff. She's in
Oh
the
yeah,
hair, and it's just like,
yeah. She's got a great look in that film.
oh, I really like
Okay, we
her.
should stop because
But
I
okay,
could
we gotta
keep
stop
going
with the
on this
close.
one. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This is Bill from Centerville, Virginia.
Centerville, Virginia. God
All
love
right.
them.
One of the joys I get from watching film noirs are the glimpses of street scenes shot on location, the old business signs, the L trains, people and their fashions of the day, and of course, the cars are fascinating peeks into the past. What are a few films that have some best street scenes in San Francisco, LA, New York, Chicago, and or any unusual locations?
Wow, that's a big question.
That's a big question. Yeah.
I'll start with San Francisco because somebody just kind of asked me this the other day. I would say that um, obviously Vertigo is a great
Oh.
look at San Francisco, and I think it kind of helps that it's in color because the locations that Hitchcock chose are so vividly color. You know, the bridge, the Fort Point scene where she goes into the bay, the Podesta Baldacci flower shop scene, all that stuff is so much more vibrant in color. But I also love Woman on the Run in San Francisco for the locations and Dark Passage. I would say those three give the best travel log of San Francisco. In LA, I'm going to say the movie we were just talking about, Crisscross, is probably the best uh, view of Bunker Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Crisscross or Cry Danger,
Mm-hmm.
which we restored years ago, also has a great many downtown LA locations, Bunker Hill and downtown. That's all gone now, so that's pretty cool to look at. Kiss Me Deadly has
Mm-hmm.
great LA locations in it, and Sunset Boulevard too has a lot of. I mean, Hollywood mostly, but not bad in terms of giving a view of the city at that time. In New York, obviously, Naked City
Mm-hmm.
is the main one, but the other two I would cite for great location work is Side Street, Anthony Mann's Side Street, and an RKO picture called The Edge of Doom with Farley Granger and Dana Andrews, photographed by Harry Stradling. And man, it has some of the best depictions of New York in 1950 that you're ever going to see. Just beautifully photographed movie. Not a great film, but if you want to see some great New York location shooting, I would advocate for Edge of Doom.
And I think he ran all the way in New York when when they show the when they go to the public pool and stuff. I really liked that. And then the lineup is one of my favorite sort of San
Oh yeah, the
Francisco
lineup in
location
San Francisco.
movies.
He ran all the way is kind of tricky because I think a lot of that film was shot in Los Angeles,
Yeah,
and it's tricky sometimes because you think, is this, like it always blew my mind when I found out that Scorsese shot a lot of mean streets in Los Angeles, and it's
it's
like, are you
amazing to me.
kidding me? Like that movie so reeks of New York that I can't believe some of that was shot in L.A. Okay,
Okay,
number 8. This is just from Sister. I don't
yeah.
know if that's who that
It
is.
wasn't signed, and sister was part of the email name, so I just put sister.
Okay, Sister says, you mentioned Greer Garson as the perfect actress to portray Alicia Malone. I don't remember when I said that, but
You
that's
did.
pretty good. I go for that. Yeah. Which actor would you choose to play you in a film? A noir film, of course. Well, Anne, I'm going to ask you this in a second, so think about it. But I have had numerous people over the years, and this is not an actor from the original noir era. It's a contemporary actor. I have had numerous people tell me that John Lithgow is the guy who would play me in a movie.
Huh.
So I'm just going to say John Lithgow because that's
Mm,
what people seem to agree on. So there you go.
yeah. I don't know. I've had people tell me a couple different actresses, not nobody from the classic period, just so that was always strange to me because I don't think I looked anything like them.
Well,
I
that
mean, if I get to pick, I want Barbara Stanwyck to play me.
of course. Well, that's the thing. There's the actor that you would like to think, and every guy would say, "Oh yeah, Robert Mitchum will play me in,"
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna want
but but
And I
no, I
figure
mean,
Stanwyck can play anything, so she could certainly handle me.
of course, if it's just, you're just talking about physical resemblance,
Yeah.
apparently I look like John Lithgow,
Yeah.
so I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Let's go to Juju, and this is from Joe. Regarding my question about walking your cat, check out the attached photo. Okay, so I'll
here we
show
go.
you
We got to do this again. Yeah.
yeah, because he had asked you previously, I think, about you watching what uh I can't speak. You had talked about walking your cat before, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, dragging my cat because
Dragging your
there's
cat because it's
none of my cats have ever walked on a leash, and
yeah.
it seems kind of silly wanting them to, but okay.
And there is Cary Grant walking his cat. It looks like
Oh
a
yeah, look at
Siamese.
that.
Oh my God.
Hey, Carrie.
There you
He
go.
looks pretty, but that's Cary Grant. He looks pretty cool doing it.
Oh yeah, he looks cool
You know?
doing everything though.
Uh, yeah, okay. I never had that kind of luck. If that was a picture of me with the cat would be on its side, refusing to move an inch. Actually, what's weird is right on the other side of this wall that you're seeing here with the window behind my head on our porch, I have a baby carriage.
Yeah.
And the baby carriage, which is now weathered and I got to get rid of it. But the baby carriage, I bought it just to put Tizzy in the baby carriage and go for walks because that's how we couldn't have her. She couldn't walk,
Yeah.
and we wanted to walk around. During COVID and stuff, we wanted to take walks outside and everything, and we bought this baby carriage and put her in the baby carriage and pushed her around, and it was the funniest thing because people would look at us and they're like, oh, me and Kath now, they're like, oh, the grandparents are taking their infant grandchild out for a walk. And then they'd get closer and they'd look in, and it was always just a fabulous surprise when they'd see Tizzy looking up at him like, what do you want with me? What?
Oh.
You know, that was fun.
Oh. Okay.
Um, and I see that after the photo, Joe asked, did Cary Grant act in any noir type films? Suspicion is about it.
Yeah, he also
That-
played on yeah, it was an episode of Suspense. They did an adaptation, A Shadow of a Doubt. Maybe it wasn't Suspense. Maybe it was Academy Award Theater. Anyway, it was an adaptation on the radio of A Shadow of a Doubt, and he played Uncle Charlie.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. How great would that have been? No offense to Joseph Cotton, but man, Cary
I don't
Grant
know.
playing
I
Uncle
don't,
Charlie.
I don't, he didn't do it very well on the radio show. Let me put it
Well,
that
but they,
way.
well, sometimes, and they throw those performances off. It's a
Yeah,
paycheck, you know. But
yeah,
I could just, I mean, you could really see the. I mean, Joseph Cotton. There's something kind of sinister about him to begin with, right?
yeah,
But you could see a teenage girl just losing her mind over Uncle Charlie. If Uncle Charlie is Uncle Cary, good
yeah,
lord.
yeah,
And then the elevator drop when he turns out he tries to kill her and stuff. Wow,
yeah, yeah.
that would have been amazing. Sorry, no offense. My favorite Joseph Cotton performance of all time
Man,
is
my
Shadow
favorite
of a Doubt.
Hitchcock film.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. But
Yeah.
what a thought, Cary Grant playing that role. Holy cow. Um, okay. This is from our buddy Alan in San Anselmo, California. Uh, most of us who have jobs do get bored with them. You seem to have the same joy with your job as you did back when you started. What year did you start? Um, I don't know because I've enjoyed all my jobs. So if you mean this job, pardon me, it would have been like the late 1990s. Um, and Alan says, I saw you for the first time at that SF downtown office where the elevator was known to get stuck from time to time. Yes, I know what he is referring to. They were kind of like uh, film raves, shall we say, that weren't always legal. And there was a building where a bunch of people got stuck in the elevator. Uh, anyway, Alan says, for example, driving, flying to gigs, and this dates this question, like last Saturday's book signing and Q&A at the Empress Theater in Vallejo, California. That had to be a late night by the time you returned home. Well, that Empress Theater in Vallejo, California is like a 40-minute drive from my house. So it wasn't that big a deal. Anyway, Alan, you raise an interesting point. I am still very, very enthusiastic about what I do. I just do not have as much stamina as I used to because, as I've just proved in at this festival in LA, where I got a lot of disappointed looks from people who have been going to that festival for 25 years, and they're like, hey, let's go out and party and blah blah blah, and it's like, I can't do that anymore. I used to go to Bordner's and close that place and then go back to the hotel and stay up all night and everything. I don't do that anymore. uh just I have to pace myself. Back then, that was the only festival I was doing. Now we're doing 10 of them around the country, in addition to all the TCM stuff and everything else. So
Yeah.
I have to be very mindful of my health.
Yeah, no, it's
um,
true. I mean,
but I just do want to add one little thing on that score is like, I get I don't get tired of doing it because I really get a lot out of meeting the fans and the people
mhm.
who are into this. And it occurred to me the other day that, like, somebody said, wow, you really interact with the fans and you're so good with people. A lot of people can't stand that and blah blah blah. And I realized, it would be really difficult if you were a celebrity. um how do I phrase this? The passion and enthusiasm that these people have isn't really directed at me. It's really directed at the films.
Yeah,
And so that makes it a different thing. If you were a celebrity and people were coming at you all the time because of who you were, and oh my God, it's George Clooney, or oh my God, it's well, I mean, I saw this when Jennifer Tilly was with
Yeah.
me, the thing, like, we went out to dinner, and 2 hours later, there was still a huge line of people waiting for her to sign stuff and pictures and all this. And it was just like, man, that would be exhausting after a while. And because it's directed right at you. The
Hmm.
way I look at it, I'm doing a job where, corralling that enthusiasm and energy and serving as a conduit for people's passions for the film is a different thing. That it's part of the job. And I look at it that way. I don't ever think that people are like, oh my God, I need your autograph, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's always something else to it. Like if they want my autograph, they want my autograph on a book.
Yeah.
So it's about the book,
It's about the, yeah. Yeah.
Nobody ever asks me for an autograph just because I'm on TV or something, so it's slightly different, which I like.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
Yeah,
all.
no, because sometimes, because you guys probably know, like I'm really into the actor Mads Mikkelsen because I think he's a great actor, and so like I follow him on like a lot of people who follow him on social media, and there really are times when just someone will say something, like for some reason, like these people like are really into his ankles, and so they'll say something like that, and I don't know, I mean, and it's just like anything to me, it's like it would be so weird to be.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If people come up to him, he's a really nice guy. He takes photos with people and stuff like that all the time. I mean, you just kind of see people post and stuff. He's a real nice guy, and and he also didn't start acting until like his 30s. So so I think that he was more mature, and then there was years before he really got famous. After
right,
that.
right.
So anyway, but I do sometimes just when I just read stuff that people say about him, and it's just like I
Sure.
don't think I could not handle being famous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a real alarm bell that goes off when you see people posting stuff. Like, I don't like it when people post personal things in regards to me as opposed to
Yeah.
it being about the films, or what do you think about this or about that? I don't mind that people want my opinion on things. All that's great. But when it gets like personal, like, oh, because you're on TV, you're now fair game for
Hmm.
this and that. Because I never think of myself as a celebrity or anything like that. I'm just a guy who does this for a living, and it's great that so many people share the same interests that I do.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of it.
Yeah. Which, like you
Um,
said, is a different kind of thing.
it is. It is.
Oh. Um, this is from David. Eddie, has your own life ever paralleled a film noir plot? Have you ever been wrongly accused? Have you ever been heisted a business? Has a seductress ever lured you and then ruined your life? Have you ever entered a dark alley at night?
Well, David, if you think number one, if you think you're going to get an honest answer to that, that's kind of weird.
Yes, it's a good
If
thing
I
not
if
to
I
mention
heisted a
crime.
business, I don't think I'm going to tell you about it right now. But the truth is, no. I have the most non-noirish life imaginable. Come on, I've been married to Kathleen for 40 years.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I am an upstanding citizen. More upstanding than the people who are now in charge of the country. That is, amazes me. But uh, no, I mean, if it was a noir story, it wouldn't be a noir story of self destruction. It would be a noir story of near misses and fateful coincidence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because which makes me more in line with my literary idol Paul Auster, who always wrote stories about, well, what if this had happened instead of that?
Yeah.
Right? Like he famously uh, was at summer camp when he was young, and a friend of his was struck by lightning, who,
Oh
who
my
was
gosh.
next to him, and the guy died. And forever, Paul was haunted by this thing of how weird is that? Because the lightning could just as easily have struck me. And what would that guy's life have been like while I'm dead? And I've had incidences like that. I mean, once when I was very much younger, in my early 20s, I was in a car with some friends driving on the freeway in San Francisco fairly late at night. And we realized that the car in front of us was now going backwards. Because instead of us following these taillights, we noticed that the taillights were getting bigger and approaching. And for whatever reason, the guy driving this car was suddenly driving at about 70 miles an hour in reverse.
Oh my God.
And we barely survived that. I mean, we were able to, like, the guy Howard driving the car swerved over to the side, like literally off the road, and kind of banged the embankment as this guy went past us. And I always thought, like, well, that could have very easily been the end of everything,
Ah.
And there have been several other, I don't consider health issues in the same way. Yes, they can be life-threatening and stuff like that, but they're not that instant, weird, fateful thing out in the world where it's like, wow, if I had turned the corner this way, I might not be here today. There've been a bunch of those, and so I relate to all that. That's kind of a Cornell Woolrich approach.
Yeah, I was thinking that's what I was thinking too. It's very Woolrich.
Much more than a James M. Cain. My life is more of a Woolrich story than a James M. Cain story.
Yeah, because if something happens to me, it's just going to be luck. Like in a Woolrich story, it's not going to be because of me or something I did. It's just going to be like that random thing that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, shall I read this last one?
I just like to say that film geeks typically don't have very interesting lives.
Don't have very dangerous lives.
It's a pretty safe hobby.
Hard to get in trouble when you're sitting there watching a movie,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good. That's why more people should watch movies. Okay, this Bill in Pleasant Hill, California, is going to bring us home with this very these fantasy questions. Sometimes I love them. Sometimes I love them. This one is pretty interesting. He says, Eddie, this is your lucky day. The genie has granted your third and final wish. You're on the stage of the Grand Lake Theater. The house is packed, and seated on stage are Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett, James M. Cain, Cornell Woolrich, and any other author of your choice. Well, I don't know about that. You can ask each author one question. What do you ask? I would say, how have you kept your body from decomposing? No, but I know what he's saying. Okay, so I'm going to ask Raymond Chandler. These are weird because, as you know, we've had these kind of questions before, Anne. And as you know, I tend to overthink them.
Yes.
I know the intention of this question, but I'm just going to say, so these guys are already dead.
Yes.
But they've magically come back to life for this.
Yes.
Moment.
Exactly.
So the question,
they're not zombies.
They're not zombies.
No.
So I would ask Raymond Chandler, who did you really want to control your literary estate upon your death? Because there was a big matter of, there was a big battle over who was going to get Chandler's literary estate. And he changed his will several times between these two people.
No.
And I'm not entirely sure that the person who ended up with the literary estate was who he really wanted to have it. Because there were depositions and all kinds of stuff that followed his death. So that's the question I would ask him. Not that it makes a damn bit of difference in the long run, but I'm just curious what his thinking was. Hammett, I would make him the cocktail that I made in his honor in my cocktail book, and I would ask him what he thinks of it. But of course, he had kind of he had stopped drinking,
Yeah.
right? So maybe that would be it. I'd ask him, hey, you want to go get a drink? Sorry, but he's dead. You're already dead.
Yeah,
So
it's
another
safe
one's
for
not
you to
going to
have
hurt
one.
you. I mean,
Oh.
I just like to know what he would think of my concoction. Vodka and a little Benedictine. That was my Hammett cocktail because he drank vodka. Sam Spade had only Bacardi rum in his apartment. Yeah. And so I put them together to make this cocktail and found that a little splash of Benedictine was kind of necessary to mediate between the vodka and the rum. And I continued to drink that on occasion now, but I'd like to know what he thought. Okay, James M. Cain, I'm going to ask him what his favorite opera is.
Oh, nice.
Because he was a huge opera fan, and I just think it would be interesting to hear him talk about his love of opera. I guess Cornell Woolrich, he was so prolific, I would ask him what's your favorite of the books you've written? I would be curious to know what he thought was his best book. And then I probably would say, and are you gay? At the very end, just because, I believe that to be true, based on Francis Nevin's research and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But a lot of other people have come around and tried to refute that. Yeah. But maybe I would just ask him. He'd probably get, who knows? Based on what I know about him, he'd probably storm off the stage and go down the street to the alley and get drunk. That's what he would do. But
I think the only thing I would really want to ask is I'd like to ask Woolrich how he did it, how he was so prolific. Like why was he so just, because he wrote a lot.
He had no other life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was drinking or writing. I mean, that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how, that would be my question. Did you drink when you were writing, or did you only drink after you had written? I mean, that's a big thing for writers.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that I just asking too to almost all of them is just how do you think drinking affected your writing? Because all
of those guys drank heavily.
Yeah.
Chandler was an alcoholic. Hammett was an alcoholic. Woolrich was an alcoholic. I can't actually speak to Cain on that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know about Cain. I don't know if he drank or not, but the other one certainly did. And yeah, I mean, I think that would be because it's just so funny to me because people always kind of glamorize the image of the alcoholic writer, but the thing I can tell you about all alcoholic writers is they stopped fucking writing. Pardon my French, because it destroys your ability to write. And if you go back and like Tender as the Night, the F. Scott Fitzgerald novel, I haven't reread it in a while, and I need to, but I would reread it every once in a while. And like the last time I reread it, so in it, the character that's really based on him is this guy called Dick, and he's a doctor, and he kind of marries a rich woman and stops kind of doing anything because he's just sort of with her, and her money and stuff. And at the end of it, they've broken up, and he's a doctor, and he's telling himself, oh, I'm going to write this research paper that I always wanted to do. He's a psychiatrist, but he doesn't do it because of his drinking. It's like his drinking has sort of destroyed his ability stuff. I read that the last time I realized, oh my God, that was Fitzgerald knowing this was going to happen to him. Mm-hmm. This was him knowing that eventually the drinking would kill his ability to write, and he simply could not stop drinking. It was really tragic.
Yep. Well, it's the greatest misassumption in the world is that somehow drinking is a cure for writer's block. Like I'll just I'll just have a drink and that'll loosen me up, and then the words will come more easily. 99.9% of the time, that is a recipe for disaster. Because then you're only going to have self-doubt about your ability. Like once you write anything good under the influence, you're screwed. You're screwed because then you can't tell whether it was being drunk that led to it. And then you're going to start drinking more to recapture that. And it's like, you're screwed. You're screwed. So it's just best to never drink when you're writing. Just have a drink to celebrate the fact that you wrote 10 pages today or something, and then realize that if you drink any more than that, you're not going to write those 10 pages the following day. So, that's it. I'm very fortunate, I drink every single day, Anne. I know you do not. But I drink every single day, but I cannot recall the last time I was drunk.
Yeah.
I cannot. And I'm very happy to have that discipline. And it's because of this very thing we're talking about. I know that there is no upside to it. There's no upside to the third drink. There's none. So, and it varies for people. With some, it's the first one, some it's the second one, but I can guarantee you there is no upside to the third one. Anyway, that's that. On that note, on that
note, now you're since we're not recording at night, you're not going to go have a drink.
I'm not. I have a lot of work to do today.
Me too.
So I'm going to go right to the work and not have that cocktail. So,
and I just wanted to really quickly, if people have MHC at the end of the month, a film called The Silence is leaving the service. I really highly recommend that. It is a German film. And the Danish actor Roeg Thompson is amazing in it. And it's at the beginning of it, this guy played by Roeg Thompson rapes and murders like a 13-year-old girl. And there's another guy in the car, his friend, who's just like kind of just sitting there. And then like 20 years later, they find a body in a bike in the exact same place. And so it's about like this guy who was in the car and kind of his relationship with this other guy, and also like what's he going to do now because he's married and he has kids and stuff like that.
Interesting. I always love the buried in the past.
Yeah, and then there's this
how many episodes is this?
It's a movie. It was a film.
Oh, it's a movie. Great.
Yeah, so you can just watch it, and it's on Canopy and Hoopla also for other people. So I just wanted to say that. I also finally watched The Driver. I got a review on that up on Letterboxd. That was a great movie for LA location.
Oh, you mean the Walter Hill movie?
Yeah, the Walter Hill movie. I'd never seen that before, Ted, and I watched that. And the location work, that's fantastic.
Yes, I was thinking of LA movies that were set in the mid 20s.
Right, in the time.
As you know, I did my neo-noir, LA neo-noir article for the Noir City magazine a year or so ago, and The Driver is obviously on that list. The closest thing any American has come to making a Jean-Pierre Melville film. That's my assessment of The Driver. The fact that nobody has a name. Nobody has a name.
Yeah, nobody has a name. Yeah.
They're just their profession, right? The driver, the cop, the player. I like that film very much. Ryan O'Neal is good in that movie.
He's fantastic in that. I was really blown away by his performance. And then I also watched Dr. Jekyll and the Wolfman, the Paul Naschy film, where our favorite werewolf man.
What will happen, Anne, if we do a Noir City festival that's a horror noir festival? I wonder if people would go for that.
I don't know. I would love it. I mean, we could show every Val Lewton film, so I'd be happy.
Of course you would love it, Anne. Of course you would love it. I'm just thinking, like, that might be kind of a way to get, I don't want to be accused of pandering, but it might be a way to get younger people into the theater by saying, here are the roots of, the noir roots of horror and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those Val Lewton pictures, you could show Among the Living, you could show all kinds of stuff. I might do it like I did the Heist Festival, where it was older and newer films.
Yeah.
And making the connection between them, it's a little, it's funny though. I think the connection between old noir and newer noir is, there's less difference between those than there is with horror films.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the difference between like Val Lewton movies and horror movies today are is just a world apart, you know.
Yeah, even it kind of
The-
depends on the subgenre of horror because definitely the supernatural horror has not changed that much.
Good point.
When you see the supernatural horror arc, those stories have really, in fact, sometimes they're less scary now than they were like, you know, like The Haunting is still probably the scariest
Yeah.
supernatural film. I don't think anything stopped that because it was just the suspense and it's great. But so I would say supernatural horror and witchcraft too has it's sort of that would be an interesting thing to mark the changes in like witchcraft films because in some ways they really haven't changed.
Well,
In some ways they
well,
have.
like for instance, you know, the difference between the seventh victim, Lewton's the seventh victim,
Yeah.
and Rosemary's Baby is really not very different. I
Yeah.
mean, there's the specter of more horror in Rosemary's Baby, but it still has that very interesting idea that is this for real or are these just lunatics worshiping the devil? In which case, it's really a noir film, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not accepting this as reality. I mean, obviously, in Rosemary's Baby,
Then yeah, you get
it
the
plays
payoff at the
itself
end
out
and stuff like
to the
that.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Curse of the Demon, right? The Jacques Tourneur film.
Yeah.
Uh, until they show the demon at the end,
Yeah.
you can. It's a film noir because you're not sure whether these are just crazy people or is there a real. Are they stepping off that cliff and saying, "Oh, we're going to show you that the horror is real,"
Yeah.
as compared to like a psychological drama where it's like, are they just imagining all this stuff? Which
Or
I
like
prefer those.
yeah,
I prefer those movies. You know.
yeah, and like I walked with a zombie, the ending of that's great because you can read it either way. I mean, is the voodoo working or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this guy is crazy obsessed,
Yep.
and is sort of very, haunted in an emotional sense, not not a thing. So I mean, that's a great film because you really can read that either way. I mean, who knows?
Well, it's funny because you may notice that if you go to Letterboxd and look at my list of unnerving films, none of them are supernatural or horror or anything. They're just very very disturbing because of the human element in them. You know, like
Yeah.
The Vanishing, the original version of The Vanishing is one. Diabolique, which has feels like a horror movie, or is there some supernatural element here? But then in the end, it's just a straight out noir.
Yeah.
And my all time favorite is Don't Look Now,
Oh God.
right? The Nick
Yeah.
Roeg movie, which
And they never really do settle the question about precognition in that.
they don't. They don't. It's just the tragedy of he made a serious misassumption
Mhm.
based on all the stuff that was being fed into his susceptible mind. He misreads the tea leaves, so to
Yeah.
speak, and it has a tragic conclusion. But man, I still think that the end of Don't Look Now is the greatest ending, most unnerving, disconcerting ending on a movie I've ever seen. And that Nick Roeg, I think he pinned the meter as a filmmaker in the last few minutes of Don't Look Now. I don't think you could. I can just tell how excited he was. Like the whole film existed for those last couple of minutes,
Yeah.
and he just did it perfectly. That whole montage sequence, the literal life flashing before your eyes sequence is some of the greatest filmmaking ever.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah, if people haven't seen Don't Look Now, just you've got to
Sorry
watch
that
it. It's a
I
great
hope I
film.
didn't completely
No,
spoil it.
you didn't completely spoil the ending.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
no,
good,
no,
good,
I
good.
think I
But
think you're
man,
okay.
do I love that movie. And
Okay.
it has the greatest sex scene ever shot with major
Yeah,
stars.
yeah, yeah. I think it's the greatest, but I think it's the greatest married sex scene. Like they feel married. It's
Yeah, they're
really,
married.
really they're married,
Yeah,
and it really shows. And it's really about it's a lot about the relationship and stuff too. It's not just like gratuitous
Absolutely.
sex. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I think it's such a great scene. It's I think it's the most honest sex scene I've ever seen in a film. I'll put it
I
that way.
completely agree. It's like there's nothing titillating about that, and it's not there. Everything you just said. I
Yeah.
completely agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
And man, they could make films like that back in the early 70s. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just great. And I like anything shot in Venice. I will watch absolutely the worst movie made in Venice and then buy a copy.
Yeah. Paul Schrader's The Comfort of Strangers. That's a
Oh,
have
I
you
haven't
seen
seen
that?
that one. I'll have to
Oh
watch
yeah,
that one.
yeah.
I didn't know that was in Venice. I'll watch it.
The movie is clearly inspired by Don't Look Now. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure that Schrader made that film because he says, "Oh man, this will give me a chance to." I don't know what, but it was clearly. You'll see. There's so much of the film that feels like Don't Look Now, and Christopher Walken is great in it. He has one monologue that is better than his monologue in Pulp Fiction.
All right.
That it
Yeah.
serves kind of the same unnerving purpose in the film, but it's really good, and it's a nice performance by the late lamented Natasha Richardson.
Oh, such a great
Uh,
actress.
yeah, she was terrific, and very very sad
Um,
that she died so young. Anyway,
anyway.
uh, there, those are our. We threw a lot of stuff out there at the end that you could add
Well,
to
it'll
the
all be on our
letterbox list.
letterbox
Yeah,
list. So it'll be
yeah,
all on my
fantastic.
letterbox list. I'll put all those in there so you guys can really but everyone should watch Dr. Jekyll and the Wolfman. No, I'm kidding. But
Uh,
I really enjoyed it and it has a really nice sequence shot in Soho that I particularly liked. And I liked his makeup when he's playing Dr. Jekyll very much. Or not Dr.
okay,
Jekyll, sorry, Mr. Hyde when he's playing Mr. Hyde. Yeah. So it's
okay. I'll
yeah.
I'll add it to my list as well. Okay, Doug.
Okay.
And when I was in LA, Doug Grieve gave me all kinds of grief because I still haven't seen No Name on the Bullet,
Yeah, you need to
which
watch
is
that.
which is sitting on the thing. But you know what the deal is. See those stairs right back there?
Yeah.
My office is up there, up at the top of those stairs. But since COVID and the fact that Tizzy couldn't walk, we moved everything kind of downstairs. So where I'm sitting right now, my TV/movie screen is right in front of me, and we tend to stay in this room. The DVD player is upstairs, so I haven't gone up there to watch these things unless it's like I have to watch this DVD because I'm writing about the movie or something. So there are two piles. There's the pile of must be watched for work, and then there's the pile of to be watched for fun. And that pile, No Name on the Bullet, has been on the top of that pile for like a year at least, or more.
More at this
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
more. But I'll get to it.
Okay.
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 I think
Well,
we're I
okay.
think we're winding up
We're
here.
good.
And
Okay.
I
So,
still have 5% juice on my laptop. So there you go. We made it in under the wire.
hopefully we will be back in 2 weeks if we can figure out recording a episode in between LA and for you Palm Springs and for me San Francisco Silent Film Festival.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
So we'll have to hit that spot. And then we will be back in 2 weeks if we can manage
Yeah,
to
we
do
can
that.
do that. We can do
Yeah.
that. So I'll have done TCM
Mhm.
by then, which I'm very excited about. I got a lot of
Me too.
great intros and things lined up with some really great people. Shoot, I get to talk with Dana Delaney. I get to talk with Brooke Adams, Sharon Stone,
Yeah.
Barbara Hershey, my buddy Ernest Dickerson. Just Christina Lane, who wrote the biography of Joan Harrison.
Mhm.
She will be introducing Phantom Lady with me at the festival. There's just all kinds of really fun stuff. A great panel on emigres and expats in Hollywood. That's kind of the theme of the festival. So I'm moderating that panel. I'm doing a panel on music supervision for the movies, how it works, what it's all about. That'll be great fun. Introducing Stranger on the Third Floor with Ernest Dickerson. a bunch of stuff. You know what it is, and you're gonna post it.
Yes, so I'll be posting about it. So you'll see everything that Eddie's introducing, plus all the noirs, because there are some that you aren't introducing, and so those will
There are
be
some I'm introducing and some I'm not introducing, which
so
is
that'll be
kind
up
of fun.
on so
Yeah,
that'll be up on our up on our social media accounts. Oh,
yeah.
right.
This is a tremendous lineup this year, and I'm introducing the hottest ticket at the festival, which is pretty exciting. The restoration of Letty Lynton,
Yeah,
32,
yeah.
will undoubtedly sell out the Egyptian theater, and
Oh yeah.
I'm honored that I got chosen to introduce that one. So
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Brendan saw an article on it and immediately like emailed me because he says, I can't believe you could just see this. You're gonna tell me about it, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, it's great.
yeah,
Eddie gets to introduce it. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I'm very
Fantastic.
psyched about
Me
it.
too.
Okay,
Okay, great. So
and
yes,
everybody, thank you so much.
thank you. And we'll hopefully see you in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye.